I could also read some more stuff in my ledger. I didn't even think of that. There's still more stuff that I haven't read.
Every worker for himself, right? What can I do for you today?
It's done. I mailed the signatures you asked me to mail. The golden boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. He claps his hands together like a child who's just been offered cotton candy. Of course, I already knew this. My friend, the mailman confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a real future, Harry, and proven yourself a real kingsman who's not afraid to make the tough decisions. I know I can trust you now. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. He nods to the lieutenant, smiling broadly. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun. Nothing is off the table. Interfacing was happy to do it. By guile and deceit, you're in. Can I get my gun now? Harry, I've got to be honest with you. He turned solemn. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. Fine, where is it? An old woman has it, and let me tell you, Harry, word on the street is she is a character, so watch out. This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy, the one he described as terrifying. So the gun's still with the woman who bought it from Roy. Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. He smiles and shakes his head in wonderment. Crazy stuff, Harry, selling your gun like that. Wild. Anyway, the neighbors of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debradeurs Union. Apparently she was waving it at the entrance to her building. At people? As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt. You might be looking at someone with a medical history here. Watch out. Who is this old woman? Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're gonna have to go in blind, Harry, but she's an old lady. How dangerous can she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs. There it is again, the Pigs, like Roy said. Not good at all. I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, someone calls themselves a pig. A smile flickers at the corner of his mouth. It actually sounds extremely bad, but let's not give him the satisfaction. I already have. Tonight, starting at 2200, near the old fish market on the coast, the one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. I wonder if it, could this be... No, it's not Ruby. He knows who Ruby is. The old fish market on the coast. Have I seen... I guess I know where that is. The one on the boardwalk past the little fish. Be careful. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now, back to the fun stuff. She will be there. Did you order the hanged man killed? Order it. You know my men didn't kill him. They told you. It was a happy accident. You know how it is. No one takes the initiative. If I wanted him dead, I would have had to do it myself, and I'm too fat for that. Why are you so fat? I'm glad you asked. I've got type 2 diabetes because sugar and fat was all my mother had to give me and my brother Edgar when we were kids. Good job, too, as it made me ugly. And ugly people, Harry, are much better at politics. What a line. What do you gain from him being dead? Why, a war, of course. What do you have to gain from a war? Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We're going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realize there is a war. You ever heard what 2 giant Cerez hornets can do to entire... I love the bee analogy. I gotta keep using it. I have. It's a great story, Harry. Did you also know how the bee colony kills the giant hornet? They swarm and blanket it entirely until it suffers a massive heat stroke and dies. He crosses his hands contently, thinking of the interior temperature of the wasp rising. Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1, and that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralists think they're in bad taste. How is this connected to the strike? Harry, there is no strike. Only war. Class war. Or in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait. Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people, and fuck Wild Pines. The word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often. So that's why you haven't let Joyce in? Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her asshole. She has no chance. What? Tits from her ass. It's a local saying. Actually, no, it's not. Thank you, Rhetoric. Thank you. I almost made a fool of myself. Walking around calling stuff steamed hams like I'm from Utica. No. That's an Albany expression. Why are you telling me your plans? Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't even change the course of events. We have a significant head start. He looks at the swordfish clock and nods. It's already happening. How are you going to fund your new independent harbor? You mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace the content? The contacts we'll lose once all the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients who will ditch us? Harry, we've thought of everything. Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate over a local mobster any day. You can't possibly hope to continue like you have. Clients will leave en masse. Sure, some will go, but mark my words, the company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams. What kind of bold new exotic revenue streams are we talking about? Drugs? Haven't you seen the crates outside, Harry? There's all sorts of fun stuff inside them. I mean, heck, this one has you and the lieutenant... Oh, the crate that we're in. I mean, heck, this one has you and the lieutenant and me and my novelty swordfish clock. Did he just deflate slightly? Was there something he wanted you to ask about? Maybe you should come back if you learn something relevant and ask again. You should definitely come back and ask again if you learn more about the Union's dealings. There's something he's not telling you. How many of you guys are in the Union? 2,372, he replies like a whip. Plus, yours truly, of course. 2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labor organization in Revachol. And they're all well motivated. Who killed the hanged man? No idea. Could have been his own mother for all I know. If you ever find the guy, give him a big fat kiss from Everard Clare. Couldn't have done it without him. He really doesn't know. A guy, huh? How do you know it's a guy? I don't. I told you it could have been his own mother. Pretty sure it wasn't anyone from the Union. Maybe it was the mob. Or maybe he killed himself because he was a closet socialist. Truth is, I simply don't know. Plan to force them out with the construction noise. Harry... By now, you should know I would never do anything tricky like that. However, if the construction noise and limited street access make some people consider moving, well, let's just say there'll be freshly renovated buildings near the roundabout where those poor people can finally enjoy a significant uptick in quality of life. I'm talking real affordable workers' palaces. He proudly spreads his hands to demonstrate the size of the palaces. They're very large. So the village is doomed. You were there. You saw the place. A wasteland. There's nothing left. But mark my words, officers. He slams his fist on the table, causing some of the coffee to spill. We are going to reset it. Reset, he repeats. I have big plans for Martinez, and they do not include humans living in those pig sheds on the coast. That land will be used for municipal buildings and commerce. Harry, imagine a youth center supermarket church complex and employing hundreds, no, thousands of people. The coast will be lit up with enterprise and life. All those ruins out there turned into low-income housing. He leans forward. Harry, enough is enough. We're taking this district back. The war was 50 years ago, for God's sake. It's time to move on. He's expect me to believe that? Yes, I do. I got the center. I got room for a retail complex, and in 4 years, I'll get the church, too. The wheels are already turning, Harry. The wheels of progress. This post-war limbo, I won't stand for it. There are kids practically playing with their own feces out there. It cannot go on. There is true indignation in his voice when he speaks about the state of things, and even a touch of pain. And then there will be a giant statue of him towering above it all. Will you erect a statue to yourself? I'm not a symbolist, Harry. I'm a realist. My statue will be Martinez rebuilt. Or my statue will be Martinez rebuilt. 5-story building complexes, kids off speed, and landowners in Ozone hating me. That will be my statue, and yours. We're doing this together. You would look nice as a statue, says authority. I need a maximum authority playthrough. Coming right up. I knew you were up to something. Damn right I'm up to something, Harry. The fist lands on the table again. I'm going to make the working man as rich as Joyce Messier. That's my job, just like yours is to keep the peace. Great, Harry. I think we've truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We have united the RCM and the Dibbergers Union. Suddenly there's sadness in his tone. This, points to you, then himself, has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together, but if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open. Too bad I forged the signatures and your whole plan is ruined, idiot. There was something suspicious, right? There was something that I was supposed to find out about
I need to be back to talk with old Leah here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larisse said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And a lot of folks really did keep coming back.
Miss Beaufort? Hold on. I don't know anything about a Miss Beaufort. What is this? Everyone needs a job and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Belloc. Everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everard's right-hand man. And when Mr. Edgar's out of town and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man... What? I'm like Mr. Everard's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everard is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady. Who is this Miss Beaufort? A real pretty lady with skin like those dough and sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here, and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Stay on the Miss Beaufort topic. Oh, Lizzie? She's a real sharp tool. Oh, that's the lawyer. Okay. Put her through some fancy school and everything east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawlerly. He respects that word. It's obvious. She's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Everyone knows everyone, gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one day, I'm sure. I mean, Mrs. and me was to have a child. We'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. LeMaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years, she has. Law school. The union fixer, the gardener? Looks like it. I'm not sure what a fixer is, but she's a real nice girl. Smart as a whip, too. Telling the gardener you know her name might throw her off. Okay. We got a little tidbit. If I knew this crate's name, that would be like a +4 to the roll. Amazing. Crate, do I know your name? I don't know your name. Should I spend... I have 2 skill points and about to get a 3rd. I've been getting experience like crazy. I think it's time. I think it's time to open this. What was it again? Rhetoric? once more. I should try harder to remember, like, what clothes are what. Or sell some of these that I don't want anymore. I think that was my only one. No! Doing it. All points into rhetoric. Stand here talking to this door forever. It's important. Despite the dirt that surrounds and trails you, a beacon of light emerges from deep within you. All I had to do was say, hello, is anybody in there? Oh, okay, that wasn't it. The door stands silent. Satisfied, detective? A wry smile crosses the lieutenant's face. Try again. If there's someone in there, I'd like to talk to you. Just like that, you hear a click, then a rattle. Some mechanism unlocks itself inside the door. From deep within the container, a voice. Ahoy! Come on in! You can't be serious. The man stands at the far end of the shipping container. It's hard to say anything more about him. You cannot make out any of his details, but you do feel the overwhelming presence of capital. The feeling causes all the hairs on your body to stand at attention like soldiers preparing for review. Something's amiss. The light beams bend around his face and scatter in 1,000 directions. It seems the laws of physics do not apply here. They are suspended, distorted, an echo. Visual calculus impossible. Trying to visualize the physics at play is liable to give you an aneurysm. Don't think about it too hard. In the stillness, only your tongue moves, flickering as you utter, "Oh my gosh, look at what happened to myself." Wow. Welcome. Come in, make yourself at home. Sorry I'm not better able to receive you. I wasn't expecting visitors today. You can't hear him exactly, yet you're able to understand every word he says. It is very strange. An overwhelming hum covers everything. Voice doesn't escape from him. Now, claps his hands together. What can I do for you, gentlemen? You can see of his body. What you can see of his body appears composed, in a sharp summer suit and yacht shoes. Who are you? Who am I? Oh, I haven't been asked that question for such a long time. There's genuine surprise in his voice. I don't meet a lot of people outside my circle these days. Anyhow, my name is Rostam Diodor. Diodor? Investor, license holder, and extremely high net worth individual. And you are? Mr. Diodor, I am Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi of the RCM. This is my partner, Harrier Dubois. Pleasure to meet you, Harrier Dubois. I must admit the name suits you well. How did you become so rich? Oh, Lord, not this again. What's the matter, Kim? Oh, nothing. It's just we've got this murder to solve, and yet you keep asking everyone around about money. And every time I ask, are you sure this is related to the case? You say, sure, Kim, I think it is. And yet it never seems to get us any closer to solving the case. It's all right. I'm used to the question by now. To be blunt, I inherited my fortune from my grandmother, who herself was an extremely high net worth individual back in Grad. All I did was take her fortune and invest it prudently. Believe it or not, it takes more than a bit of skill not to blow a vast fortune on sailing boats, bad choices, and unsupervised state policy. Actually, at the level this guy is, it takes several generations to do that, but all right. What's it like being an extremely high net worth individual? Whew. I gotta tell you, at first, being rich is a lot of work. You've got to work hard because everything's so darn expensive. You know, prices increase exponentially at this income level. But then once you've reached my position, it's nearly impossible for me not to make money. My assets are so diversified that I'm bound to come out ahead no matter what. Some of my lower net worth friends say to me, but doesn't that take all the fun out of it? And I tell them, not really. Don't you think you owe some of that wealth to the rest of society? Sure, and they benefit when I buy things to stimulate the economy. Do you know how many jobs it takes to build and maintain a racing yacht? Hundreds? Dozens, at least. You missed. I continued rolling at that crate until I was able to talk it into opening. And inside we found a mega rich light bending guy. I have no more information for you yet. We'll figure it out together. Of course, in the future it'll all be automated. But my point is this, he says, jabbing his finger into the air a bit. Every man gets what he earns. It's the height of tyranny to take that from him. Capital, he nods. Makes one speechless, does it not? Blinds like the sun that rises from beyond the horizon after a gloomy winter. Hey, all this talk about money has made you lose the thread. What is going on with the light in this place? That's what you need to ask him about. There's something strange about you. What do you mean? His essence seems to signify actual surprise. Well, I don't know how to put it. You look somehow a little different. Are you talking about my chin? No, I mean, I can't even see you. It's as if something is happening to the light. Oh, that's what you mean. Yes, I've heard of this effect, though I've never witnessed it myself, of course. It has something to do with our Weiss-Wiseman coefficient. Thank you, Encyclopedia, for the money. The Weiss-Wiseman coefficient is a ratio designed to reflect the difference in net worth between individuals. When the coefficient is close to 1, or 100%, it means one person possesses all the net worth among that group of individuals. It's observed that when the Weiss-Wiseman coefficient reaches about 0.96 or so, the laws of physics begin to bend around the high net worth individual. So what is our coefficient? The Weiss-Wiseman coefficient for you and this individual appears to be 0.9998 repeating. It's not good for you. What happened to my money? What happened to my money? Look at it. What's going on? Are you telling me that you are so rich that light literally bends around your face? Among other things, but calm down. I'm but a lonely single-digit billionaire. Really? No, not really. There are actually quite many digits. Kim, are you seeing this weird stuff? I see nothing of the sort. To be frank, all I see is a gentleman who's unusually well-dressed for Martinaise. In a cargo container, which I admit is odd. What are you doing in this container? Traveling! This is a great way to get around. It's fun, it's safe, and it gives me lots of time to think. By the way, let me ask you a question. Where are we exactly? In the very, very early days of colonizing this archipelago, the kingdom of Suresne, a precursor of modern Sur-le-Clef, used to own the city of Revachol. An obscure detail in the big picture, but still worth dropping. So I could tell him that this is formerly a colony. Okay, sure. There's a cool church here. Fellow history buff. I myself am currently reading up on Franco-Nigerian era trains. Very interesting stuff. It's a shame I can't get out and explore myself. One of the downsides of being an extremely high net worth individual is that mobs of low net worth individuals are constantly banding together to ask for money. Why don't you help them? You've got so much money it can't make a difference to you. There simply aren't enough hours in the day to hand out all the handouts. It's like feeding seagulls. There are always more, and they never seem to do anything interesting with it, except more seagulls. Spending money is a matter of desire. I'm sure you agree. I don't have the desire for spending it like that. So you travel from place to place in a shipping container? Smart, no? It provides a means to hide from all the targeted advertising we extremely high net worth individuals are constantly subjected to. Luxury yachts, high-fidelity portable radio systems, pale-proof outerwear, and so on. It just gets a bit middle class after a while, a bit bourgeoisie. Does sound pretty tiresome. Don't get me wrong, they're nice things, but once you achieve a certain level of wealth, your time and mental space become much more important than material goods. He speaks from the heart. He has very different problems compared to low net worth individuals such as yourself. For example, no problems at all. Being rich isn't worth the hassle. No, I didn't say that. Being rich is great. Just don't tell anyone I said I told you that. The bending light appears to wink. You're a rich investor, right? Can I have some money? Could you please stop asking people for money? It does not reflect well on the RCM. To be perfectly frank, we can't afford to look worse than we already do. But Kim, I also can't afford to look any better than I do now. That's why I need money. It's perfectly alright. Based on your appearance, I can tell I'm dealing with a smart man. As you may know, us high net worth individuals do not have a lot of cash on hand. Investments and liquidity are enemies of one another. I think I only have coins for coffee machines. Here's 3 real. How much can you get for this? Are you sure you don't have any more? I thought you were a billionaire. Yes, I'm sure. You know, his eyes narrow. The light seems to bend more aggressively. Maybe you can make that money grow. Come up with an investment plan? How's that sound? Conceptualization. Can we do it? Can I put some clothes on? Okay, I was worried that I'd hit a bug that just gave me a crazy amount of money, but no, it's because I was too close to him that This is so funny. So what was it? Conceptualization? Here we go. Minute? What? My money is just secretly Bitcoin. I might even spend a thing ahead of time because I think it said it was a red check. Looking like a proper businessman now. Okay, well... Do I have any... Do any of... I didn't even think of that. Do any of these... Are any of these giving me a minus to conceptualization? No. Would any of these give me a temporary plus while being researched? No. Put one more point in here. This would be a lovely thing to save scum, but I'm not going to. That's cheating. We don't cheat here. We just roll really good. Damn. Oh, if business planning were really your strong suit, you probably wouldn't be a cop. Get this great idea for a board game. Brace yourself. It's very high concept. I'm ready. It's a pen and paper game where people all over the world can play with each other using radios. Hold on. Have we met before? Maybe. I wouldn't really know. No. On second thought, it couldn't have been you. Your idea reminds me of a group of young men who came to me a long time ago, calling themselves Fortress Accident. The name should have been a red flag. They pitched me and a handful of other investors on an idea for a role-playing game that would, in their words, change the world. What happened? Well, at first everything was rosy. The ideas were solid, but they were lacking in, how do I put it? They lacked the will to get things done. As their financial situation became more desperate, their ideas devolved from realistic to absolute insanity. We lost all of our money. High art types never deliver. They're only good for peddling Welkins or whatever creeps they come up with. I guess the inordinate amount of time they poured into drawing mythical creatures did not generate a return on investment. Where are they now? Nobody knows for sure, but the place can't be pretty. Did you try to salvage the project somehow? Sadly, when we got there, it was too late. The concept had run out of steam. Only dust remained. What I want to tell you is this. It's a very bad idea. Dead in the water. You seem like a reasonable man, but that is not a reasonable plan. You sure you don't want to give those little welcomes a second go? Absolutely not. Bankruptcy sequence. Well, unfortunately, I failed the roll, but what is this? Business loves silence. The second loudest sound in the world, eclipsed only by the collective screams of market crash victims. So let me whisper to you, do you feel the veil of the sun god slipping? Are the better days gone? Are we entering bankruptcy? Is the company going to go down and leave you in the gutter with the rest of the dredges, delivering parcels for soup money? You need to crisis manage your way out of this. Curious. Well, I'm sad that I blew the roll. Nothing I could have done. It was a really bad roll too. I think I rolled a 4. Oh well. There goes all of my skill points for the foreseeable future. I do have something to do now. We are going to confront pigs. I should probably put on some bulletproof armor if I'm going to do that. We're really low on tasks. Awesome. We got 2 hours to kill. Half asleep. Cool. Yeah, unfortunately, I guess I can't really stream any earlier. I am just barely managing to get my sleep schedule fixed. Past 2 days have been reasonable.
Your race descent has only one.
Oh, I can go try the backyard wall again. Although I think it works better at night, so I'll wait for nighttime and then do it. I could also pawn some stuff and get up to $50, because I would like those sneakers. Talk to these guys again real quick, I guess.
The purity of snow always reminds me of the purity of a man's soul. If he's got prince.
Did he have stuff to talk about?
It's such a pleasure to see you again, officer. How may I aid the citizens, Elysium, on this fine day?
What do you about the dead man? Heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week, that's all I know. Must have heard something. No, officers, I'm sorry. I really would like to assist. You're both good guys. I can see that. Then help them, you wimp. Someone must know some. You rub plenty of shoulder with the gauche caviar in the Union. Someone must know something. He means caviar socialists. Wish I could, but I don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that. Odd. He doesn't seem to be lying, but there's something off here. I'm not even... Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly. Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, Renee? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Everard. How do you know him? Everyone in Martinaise knows the Clare brothers. I taught those boys human studies and history in the gymnasium. What do you know about history? The carabineer snaps at Gaston. You never witnessed history, only heard about it years later when it had moved on. You don't know history. There he stands, a man, a man. Proud, rigid, and alone, like a cracking marble statue. Try not to get caught in the crossfire, lest we leave riddled with bullet holes. This animosity is ancient. Are you a Union member? Oh. In many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Everard, Edgar, and the older debuteurs all know me. In many ways? Oh, yes. So you're not an actual member? Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Everard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things. That's what it was before, him hiding something. He tries to make it look like he's a big deal in the Union. Now the illusion is disintegrating before your and Renee's eyes. He doesn't know anything because no one tells him anything. He's an outsider. He's a weather vane. Turns to where the wind blows and tries to look important. That's a fun insult. I hate the socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence, never committing to a side. What are the little things you do forever? Sometimes you need something in writing, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. What do you write for him? Nothing official, I assure you, just essays for the newspapers. About Martinaise and how things are and how they could be. Everett and I have these long talks where he tells his little penman exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself. Just the way things work around here. Are you a caviar socialist? I don't even consider myself a regular socialist. Politics is not something I involve myself in, officer. So are you a weather vane? I prefer highly adaptable myself. Has a better ring to it, don't you think? Mon Dieu. What are the other options here? How can you write those newspaper pieces if you're not political? Officer, I have a vivid imagination. And like I said, I have a way with words. That's enough. No need to sink into politics. Alright. Let's go. I'm not going to eat his sandwich. I haven't been in here in a couple days. There could be new stuff for sale, even. I didn't even think of that. Oh, man from Helmdall shirt. It's real nice, but no. $700 for a street light. I have no idea what to do with it. Every stream is a 3-hour stream. Where have you been? It says phone. I'm gonna buy it. It says phone. I need it. Always carry it with you. Is it supposed to be lucky?
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything.
Sell my clothes. Oh. Some armor? Oh, no, no, no. I don't need any bloodthirsty mercenaries knocking on my door looking for the missing toys. Besides, this gear costs a fortune. There's no one in Martinez with that kind of money. Alright. Sell a postcard. Sell another postcard. Sell another postcard. How much money am I up to? Oh, I could sell the drink, but I don't really want to. Could that also be important? Who knows? I need another $6. I guess I could sell if I sell the fuel canister and... No, maybe not. Oh, I'm just a little bit short. If I make a couple more encyclopedia rolls. I know! They're so, like, it's so weird that these dice have specifically, there are a couple of rolls that have been like, you get a +1 to this roll because you have these dice that the woman gave you. And we have a canister with fuel in it. That could be important. This I really don't think I need anymore. I can sell this. If I... Hold on a sec. If I go looking through here. Who are the knights? Who are the uniforms? This looks like Renee. What loyalists look like at first, then they wised up and got camouflage. Even soldiers. If I can force a couple of encyclopedia rolls, then I get money for those inexplicably. Come over here, right? There's nothing to do. Can't go through there. Nope. Check the traps again. Still no Phasmid. My empathy tells me I should feel sad for the locusts, but I don't. Oh, I can go talk to Joyce about lots of things. Tell her all the stuff that Everard just told me.
What can I help you with?
Where did he have you deliver it? Here. Oh no, what does that bloated hellbat want with my little cinder block town? It's clear the village has already grown dear to her. Strangely so. Why did she come here? No, don't tell me. I don't want to know what he has in store for this place. Probably a statue. It's a statue, right? A giant statue of him, or better yet, his twin brother. Practically the same thing, but it makes him seem like less of a psychopath. Quite fond of this village, aren't you? I should be. In my youth I had a brief dalliance here in Martinez. He was an older man with impossibly broad shoulders. He's probably dead now. Even his shack is long gone. Not that it matters. These buildings are all carbon copies of one another. You've been to Martinaise before? Yes, I was slumming it with some girlfriends of mine. We had boats, and... Don't hold it against me. My paramour certainly did not. Sounds like you missed those times. Not overly so. It's not like this was the only place we visited. Me and my girlfriends from Lausanne, with our shiny boats like reavers, we told ourselves we were the worst thing to happen to the coast since the Coalition landed in '08. Imagine, she tosses her head. She's sentimental, all right. Why would she come here otherwise? I'm overradiated, Harry. I do silly things sometimes out of pale-related illness, like sail over here. The moral of the story is, do not spend 22 days a year in Pale Transit. Don't waste your 20s slumming it with your stupid friends, and don't deliver Everett Clare's mail. Her bony finger is pointed like an arrow at your chest. Are you satisfied, detective? What else can you tell me about your mail delivery quest? Do you think it will improve the place? He wants to build a youth center here. A youth center with Edgar Clare's statue on top of it. She looks down on the jetty remorselessly. Go ahead, help him. Make it so. I have no power to stop him. You would prefer something else? Not a youth center? First, there won't be a youth center, whatever he's told you or the residents. It'll be something horrific. Perhaps even worse than a statue. So yes, I do. Like what? A fishery. I've been speaking with Lillian here. She gave me the idea. The infrastructure is all here, and with my connections... Sadly, it's just one of the million things I'll never get around to. I just have to accept I'll never be the rich candy girl who goes around solving people's problems with money. So you're sad you can't buy the place? Yes, I'm sad I will never have the time, detective. I've always wanted a dilapidated fishing village. She's more defensive about it than usual. Full of ghosts and ancient memories. Has this errand yielded any information? This whole thing is a takeover. It's not a strike. Alright, so how do we want to phrase this? It's not a strike. You aren't being let into because there's nothing to negotiate. The union is taking the terminal. Or, he's told me so in his own words. He's taking it. He'll also use the drug trade to finance the harbor. He didn't actually say this, but, I mean, he implied it. Taking it. She looks toward the colorful mountain of crates like toy blocks rising above Martinaise. Green livery changing into red, blot by blot, like a cancer of the blood, metastasizing? Then we're talking about a war. Everard needs to let me into the harbor at once. We need to talk about this. I can ask him to let you in. He won't. He's ready for a war. They all are. They most certainly are not. Krenel has 1,000 men on their payroll. The next batch will be a platoon of 20 men and a gunship. I've seen the Union's forces. They're better organized than these mercenaries. They also have the support of the people of Revachol West. It will take more than Krenel to wipe them out. Wild Pines will need to send more and better equipped men. Make no mistake, ma'am. I am sure you have the money. The question is how many years and how many lives you are willing to sacrifice. What do you suggest I do? First, will this affect your decision-making process? Everything affects the decision-making process, detective. Haven't you noticed? You're playing Disco Elysium. The look on the lieutenant's face conveys uncertainty. He doesn't even sound angry. For once, I don't know what the right thing to do is. The workers should have the harbor. Cut off the snake's head. Everard's pushing all this. It's a bluff. Have them open fire and see how long. Bring in everything you have. Wipe them off the face of the earth. It's apocalypse o'clock. Time to commence the gloaming. I wish there was a disco option. Cut off the snake's head. Everard is the one pushing all this, I guess. Like the previous leaders of the Union were assassinated, I suspect by Everard and Edgar themselves. She considers it. I admit there's poetry in the idea, and like poetry, it's also useless. There would still be Edgar. They've factored it in. The Union is them, and they are Martinaise. So what are you going to do? What will I do? She says, slowly looking around. Her arms fall to her sides. Her spine relaxes. The wind blows. Waves crash in the distance. She crosses her arms and asks, Did I ever tell you how they discovered this Isola during our reality lowdown? You said you would one day, even though I already know. Dolorous Day did a thing. It may be the only break we've ever caught as a species, the last one for 400 years. Why? The nations who colonized this Isola called theirs Mundi, the world. It was all they knew, all they thought would be. That there would be something more was a gamble, akin to another world, or life after death. The Pale was thought to be impregnable, perpetual. She points northwest. Irene the Navigator, the Queen of Ceresne, sent 8 expeditions, one after the other, into the mass at the edge of the world. 5 of the crews did not return. 2 did, but had lost their minds. Each of those expeditions would have been led by an admiral. Sounds like a purge. Sounds like she was purging her political rivals. There was no precedent for such an undertaking. People thought she was punishing the admirals, or had gone mad, or both, until after years of trial and error, and the development of a strict psychological regime imitating the creation process of poetry, called Volta do Mar, or Return from the Sea. The 8th expedition returned, sane and intact. They told of a new continent of matter. They told the Queen and her counselor, Dolorous Day, that the Pale had begun to condense, day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, slowly raining down until it formed a vast ocean. The air is cold and scented with petrichor. Petrichor? This ocean? The phenomenon has never again been encountered. Weird. I guess we still don't know. We kind of know what the Pale is, but we kind of don't. The Pale had begun to condense, raining down until it formed a vast ocean. The phenomenon has never been encountered again. For a time, the crew thought they were experiencing a hallucination. The masthead proclaimed L'Insulindi, the signal to wake up. But they could not. They were sane and conscious as islands began to appear on the horizon. There are 78,000 uninhabited islands in the Insulindian archipelago, officer. The freckled face of God. You've thought it 1,000,000 times. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the Pale. After the Pale, the world again. Oh, Serp was quicker. I don't think I've ever seen that word in my life. A total shift, she nods, in human comprehension of reality. On the second day, a great skua, the bird? A great skua was shot down above the flagship Lyserkigwe. The bird was preserved and brought back, along with pollen. 4 years later, the Queen's Counselor was proclaimed Her Innocence Dolorous Day, the elected world spirit. The age of humanism, internationalism, and parliamentary rule followed. We were high. And this was the last break we got. The nations of Mundi proceeded to discover 5 more isolae, or they discovered us, all in the rush of the great interinsulary reconnection. But these others weren't uninhabited. We had to kill people there, wipe out indigenous populations, gunboat economies, or they came to do the same to us, or had done to each other. But here, there was no one but the skua, the Liliaceae, and the blood beach and the river Esperance. It was the new world. The Mondials used it to amass the greatest concentration of wealth mankind has ever seen. Revachol the Suzerain. Well done, Suzerain. But what was done exactly? Revolution? The rise and crash of capital? International intervention? Leaving us here. On Calo. The Pebble, the largest of the fertile uninhabited islands of the northeast Insulindian archipelago. 4 centuries and 2 revolutions later. The great skua was the first bird they saw, the first living autonomous organism, proof of reality. It's the symbol of the Insulindi, Detective, the coat of arms on the suzerain, and the wings on the crest of the commune. I seem to have it in... I seem to have it in for it. Or it for me. I broke one. I did. In your defense, it is a nasty creature who plucks food from the throats of lesser birds. Yet much like Revachol, is also magnificent. And rare. Imagine the suzerain of seagulls. It's raining. It is. Soon it will be spring, and everything will blossom. The gangs will run wild. The lieutenant keeps his hand in the rain, jacking motor carriages, ferrying amphetamines through Coal City. Spring is tough in Revachol. What will you do? I will surrender Terminal B to the Union. Is that within your means? She puts her hand in the rain. She's silent for a second. We will see. Ma'am, this may well unravel property law this side of the river. If that occurs, we may never see the end of this kind of confrontation. The next time there will be 2 strikes, then 4, then 100. What happens will happen. She takes the end in her rain-slick hand and starts untying the knot. The age of capital has only begun. I will talk to my employers in person. We will amputate and cauterize Martinez if you handle the situation on the ground. This is easy for me to make. I'm a rhetorical. I could talk the doors off a crate. I think I can tell you that you need to answer my question. There are no employees. She's a member of the board, probably a partner. You are the Wild Pines. There are no employers. She turns to you, rope in hand. You are the citizens' militia. There are no superiors. What? Of course I have superiors. That's right, Detective. And next time you should confer with them before you go setting events in motion. Despite his words, he's not really sure whether to be annoyed with you or not. Events are already in motion. Whether your actions accelerated or momentarily retarded their progress, even the lieutenant cannot say. Even after all this time, I still don't really understand who you are, or what your angle is. I have not deceived you. I showed you who I was, Rejoice Layton. You're going now? Yes, Mr. Clare has a 2-month head start. I can't let it grow any bigger, and I've exhausted all my options from here.
Keep the peace, and I will keep my end of the bargain.
How far along is Prunell's investigation?
A confrontation is imminent. They have followed in your footsteps. As your investigation reaches a climax, so does theirs. They are your shadow. Arm yourselves. Armor yourselves. Protect their targets. Violence may be unavoidable, but we can limit the casualties.
When will they make their move? Where?
Soon. I do not know precisely. They have cut off all communication, you see. They know I've been feeding you information. One last thing, Lieutenant Dubois. I've given the matter much thought and come to this conclusion. You're not an amnesiac. You're insane. I know because I too am insane. I just hide my illness better. And I'm rich.
Overradiated?
I'm overexposed, baby. My travels take me through the Pale dozens of times a year. I've got the longing, and I've got it bad.
She would die to return to it. The Pale, the past, anything one can return to. How do you keep your shit together?
The same strict psychological regimen the 8th Admiral developed when he crossed the Pale and discovered this isola, the Volta de Mar. It's used by inter-isolary travelers and other troubled souls even to this day.
Could use a little of it yourself. Isn't everybody a little insane?
No, Detective. No one's as insane as you.
Don't worry, madame. I am very sick.
Goodbye, Rejoice
Watch out for
Layton.
yourselves. They will strike soon.
Secret task complete. Find solution to strike deadlock. The lieutenant watches her boat grow smaller on the bay, its white sails fluttering. With worry in his eyes, he does not know if it was the right thing to do, but he doesn't say anything. You wonder what Everard has to say about this. Slowly, the sails turn a gray-blue as more oxygen gets between you. And then this happened. How old am I? You were born in the year 07, in the last year of the commune of Revachol, right before it fell. In the old military hospital on the ground floor where people usually came to die during a snowstorm, the revolution had about 1 year left to go when the fires were still burning bright. There were explosions in the blizzard. This was 44 years ago. You are 44 years old. The bloating might never leave your face, but beneath it, you still have some years. You still have some hope. Okay, so physique passives got easier, even though physique didn't go up by 1. Okay. Learning cap for logic raised to 4, which is like nothing. Don't I already have, my logic cap could scarcely be any higher. So that one is almost entirely pointless. So if I were going to erase anything, it would be that. But then I'll forget how old I am. And what is this? The Insulindian Miracle. You were reminded of a poem. Somewhere deep inside you, the translation of which you don't remember. Nuyasara combatio della luce, it begins. Colore come grigio e marrone. Tu ci stampati uno sull'altro trovai un vuoto, una macchia bianca. Gli altri guardarono. Che bella giornata, che bel tempo. Man, why? It's pretty long. Ma senti la rotiva. You were reminded of it when you heard about the discovery of Insulindi, but what does it mean, and how do you know it by heart? Yeah, there's only 1 slot left. I mean, I guess this isn't, it's not hurting me the way, there was something that I had that hurt me. Lonesome Long Way Home, I think that was hurting me, potentially. Alright, so it's well past 9, in fact. Alright, so let's save right here. Next stream, we will get ready to confront Pigs, who has our gun. And maybe do some other things as well. Yeah, it seemed Italian. Alright, so that's all for tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed. Tomorrow is going to be Filament, the puzzle game that I was doing fantastic in for the first 3 hours and then never again. I expect it's going to turn out like Steven's Sausage Roll, where I did really well at the beginning and then almost immediately I'm going to hit the wall and only be able to solve 2 or 3 puzzles a day.